The alarms were loud, blinking red lights spinning above Carter's head as he ran through the smoke-filled hallway of the outer ring. The neutral space station had always felt like a safe place, where traders, travelers, and lost people came to rest. Now it felt like a war zone. Behind him, explosions shook the floor. Carter was just an engineer. He fixed pipes, recharged shields, and made sure the water systems worked. He had never held a weapon, and he didn't want to. But that didn't matter now. He had to survive. He turned down a maintenance shaft, coughing as smoke filled his lungs. Fire blocked the main exit. People screamed on the comms. Some were already gone. Others begged for help no one could give. Carter's hands moved on instinct. He opened a locked side panel and crawled through the narrow crawl space, heading toward an old escape port he had once repaired. His legs were shaking, but he pushed forward. Something wasn't right. The attack wasn't random. It was focused. He had seen the strange ships through a viewport earlier. Black, sharp, and fast. Not pirates. Not raiders. Something more dangerous. As he reached the lower engine room, he heard a soft sound behind a broken vent. It wasn't mechanical. It was breathing. He moved closer, careful. He wasn't alone. Inside the corner of the room, behind fallen pipes, was a figure. A woman, not human, tall, slim, skin a soft pale blue, glowing faintly in the shadows. Her eyes were wide, full of pain. Blood, dark purple, stained the side of her body. Her hand clutched her ribs. "Don't be scared," Carter said gently, lifting his hands to show he had no weapon. "I'm not one of them." She blinked slowly, then nodded. "Can you walk?" he asked. "Barely," she said, her voice soft, but steady. "They're hunting me." "Who?" "The Vakari," she whispered. Carter froze. He had heard the name. Powerful, ruthless, they destroyed anything in their path. They were part of no council, followed no laws. If they were after her, she must be someone important. "We have to go," Carter said. "I know a way out." She tried to stand, stumbling. Carter caught her before she fell. He looped her arm over his shoulder and helped her walk. Step by step, they made their way to the escape port. Inside was a small, rusted cargo shuttle. Not fast, but it still worked. Carter had fixed it himself. 2 months ago, they barely made it out before another blast shook the station. The force pushed their shuttle forward as it escaped the burning structure. Carter stared out the window, heart pounding. Everything behind them was gone, all because of the alien now lying in the back seat. Trying not to scream from the pain, he turned to her. "I'm Carter." "You?" "Lyria," she said. "I'm not just a target. I'm the last of my house. My people are almost gone." Carter didn't ask more. Not now. He set a course into the dark sector, a quiet zone with no traffic and no beacons. A place to hide. Hours passed. The shuttle drifted through black space. The heater barely worked, and Lyria began to shiver. Her wound had slowed, but she was weak. "We need to rest," Carter said. "I know a place." He guided the shuttle toward an old mining freighter floating dead in space. He had found it months ago and stored some supplies inside, just in case. Now, it was the only place left inside the ship. The lights flickered. Most of the rooms were too open, too cold. But there was one hidden chamber Carter had used before, a smuggler's bed compartment. It was built for hiding, with layered metal around it to block scans, small, narrow, and padded with old blankets. It wasn't comfort, it was survival. "We'll hide here," he said, helping Lyria into the small space. It was barely big enough for 2 people. Carter climbed in after her, sealing the hatch. The walls made it warm, and the soft hum of the ship's leftover battery buzzed in the background. For a moment, there was silence. "They'll keep looking," Lyria whispered. "They don't stop." "We'll keep hiding," Carter replied. Together, Lyria looked at him, her eyes tired but filled with something else. Something quiet and unsure. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Carter didn't answer right away. He could have left, could have saved himself. But he didn't, because no one should face death alone. Lyria didn't speak again, but she leaned slightly closer, breathing slower now, and inside That tiny, hidden bed, surrounded by cold metal and far from safety. Two souls, human and alien, began to trust one another in silence. The small bed compartment hummed quietly as Carter and Lyria lay side by side, the metal walls around them blocked almost all signals. Outside, the abandoned freighter drifted silently through space. Hiding from the eyes of anyone who might be hunting them, Lyria's breathing was slow but shallow. Her pain was still strong, but the hiding place helped her feel safer. She reached out a trembling hand and found Carter's. He held it gently, careful not to hurt her. "Why did they want you?" Carter asked softly, breaking the silence. Lyria sighed. "It is not just me. It is what I carry." Her eyes darkened. "My house protected a secret, a star system hidden from all others. Inside it is energy so powerful, it can change the fate of any fleet. The Vekari want it. They want to control it." Carter frowned. "But why hunt you? Can't they find it themselves?" She shook her head. "The map is hidden inside me. It is encoded in my blood. Without me, the secret is lost. If I die, the location disappears." Carter's heart beat faster. This was more than he had thought. The peaceful alien he saved was a key to something dangerous and powerful. And now, her enemies were hunting her without rest. "We have to get that map away from them," he said. "But where do we go?" Lyria looked at him with tired eyes. "There's a planet. It's called Solaris. No one knows its true location except my family. If we reach it, the map can be hidden in the ancient vaults. But it is far, and Vekari patrols cover the usual routes." Carter thought for a moment. "We can't fly straight there. They'll spot us. Then we hide." Lyria whispered. "We move through the dead zones, places with no signals, no life. If they scan, we will disappear." Carter nodded. He was no pilot, but he knew enough. The old freighter was slow and barely had fuel, but it was silent, perfect for hiding. They spent the next hours planning in the cramped space. Lyria told stories of her home world, a bright place filled with tall towers, soft music, and skies full of dancing lights. Carter shared memories of Earth, forests, oceans, and human courage in the face of war. Their voices grew quieter as exhaustion pulled on them. In the close space, their hands still found each other. Trust was growing in the darkness. But outside, danger was closing. On the edge of the dark sector, a sleek black ship slipped through space. Its sensors scanned the empty areas, searching for any sign of the runaway alien princess. The Vekari commander, a tall figure wrapped in dark armor, studied the data. "The freighter is old, but it carries something important. Continue the hunt. No rest until it is found." Back inside the freighter, Carter prepared the controls. The engines were weak, and the fuel gauge was low. They could not run far without careful use. Lyria closed her eyes. "I am sorry for dragging you into this." "Don't be," Carter said with a small smile. "I saved you because it was right. Now, I'll help you get through this. We're in this together." Just then, the ship's sensors blinked red. The Vekari ship was near, scanning closer than ever. "Hide," Carter hissed, guiding Lyria back to the small bedchamber. They crawled inside and closed the hatch. The walls hummed as the compartment's shield activated. Outside, the Vekari sensors swept the freighter slowly. Carter held his breath, feeling Lyria's hand squeeze his tight. Minutes passed like hours. Then, suddenly, the Vekari ship turned away, unable to detect anything inside the freighter. They waited until the black ship disappeared into the darkness of space. That was close. Carter whispered. Ion nodded. "They never stop. They will hunt me forever unless the secret is safe." "Then we have to be smarter," Carter said, feeling a strange strength rise inside him. "We can't run forever. We have to fight back." Lyria's eyes opened slowly. "You are brave. Human. Most would have left me behind." "I'm not most," Carter said with a soft laugh. "And I don't plan on leaving." The two shared a small moment of quiet between them. The silence was not empty. It was full of hope and new strength. Carter looked at the small stars visible through the freighter's cracked viewport. "We'll make it, step by step, no matter what." Lyria smiled faintly. "With you beside me." "I believe that." As the freighter's engine slowly powered up, they prepared to move again. Hidden in the darkness, two unlikely allies were becoming something stronger than fear, a bond that could change the fate of many worlds. The small bed compartment felt tighter than before. Carter and Lyria shared the space, their bodies close enough to feel each other's warmth. The metal walls hummed softly as the old freighter drifted through space. Far from safety, but hidden well enough for now, they had no choice but to stay. In the cramped room, Carter could see the pain in Lyria's eyes, but also a quiet strength that refused to break. "Tell me about your family," Carter said quietly. He wanted to understand more, to see the world she came from. Lyria hesitated, but then began to speak. "My family ruled a city on the planet Neelith. It was a place of peace, art, and knowledge. But the Vekari came without warning. They burned our homes and took many lives." Her voice cracked, but she held steady. "I was just a child when it happened. I lost everyone. My mother, my brothers. Only I escaped. I carry their memory with me." Carter listened, feeling a deep sadness. He thought of his own family back on Earth. "I lost people too. Wars, accidents. But we keep going. We remember them and fight for a better future." Lyria nodded slowly. "Your world sounds strong." "It is," Carter smiled. "We don't give up easily. Ours passed as they shared stories." Carter told Lyria about the blue skies of Earth, the sound of rain, and the warmth of sunlight. Lyria painted pictures of glowing forests and silver rivers on her world. The small space felt less like a prison and more like a quiet place, where its lonely souls could find comfort. As the freighter moved through the dark zone, Carter studied the ship's controls. "If we can repair the old engines more, we can move faster. But we need parts. Maybe from the junk fields near the outer belts." Lyria looked hopeful for the first time. "I have heard of these places. Dangerous, but full of forgotten things." Carter grinned. "Danger is part of the job." That night, they shared a small meal of stored food and water. Lyria's strength slowly returned, but her wound was still deep in the silence. Carter reached out and brushed a strand of hair from her face. She looked at him, eyes wide. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" Carter asked. "For not leaving me behind, for fighting with me." He smiled softly. "You're not alone anymore." Just then, the freighter's sensors beeped softly. Carter frowned and checked the readings. No signs of Vekari ships nearby. For now, they were safe. Lyria sighed with relief. "This small piece feels like a dream." Carter looked at her, feeling a new warmth growing in his chest. Maybe dreams can come true. Days passed. Their bond grew deeper. The small bed was no longer just a hiding place. It was a shelter for two hearts learning to trust. One evening, as they rested, Carter spoke carefully. "Lyria, if we survive this, what will you do? Where will you go?" Lyria thought for a moment. "I want to rebuild, to bring my people home. But first, the secret must be safe." Carter nodded. "And I'll help you, no matter what." Lyria smiled faintly, her eyes shining with hope. "You are brave, Carter. More than I ever expected from a human." "I'm just a man," he said. "But with you, I feel stronger." The two shared a quiet moment, their hands touching lightly. In the vast emptiness of space, they found a small piece of light. Suddenly, the freighter's alarms blared. A warning flashed on the screen. Sensors detected a fast ship approaching. Carter's heart raced. "They found us." Lyria's eyes hardened. "Then we fight, or we hide again." Carter gripped the controls. No more hiding. The old freighter shook as the engines powered up. Carter guided it toward a nearby asteroid belt, a dangerous place where big ships move slowly. "We use the rocks for cover," he said. "They won't follow us inside." Lyria nodded. "Let's show them we are not easy prey." The freighter slipped between giant asteroids, shadows hiding their small ship. The enemy fired warning shots, but their big weapons couldn't follow fast enough. Inside the bed compartment, Carter and Lyria held each other's hands tightly, ready for what was next. In that tight space, with danger just outside, they were no longer just two strangers hiding. They were partners, bound by trust and hope. And whatever came next, they would face it together. The freighter slipped quietly through the asteroid belt. Carter steered carefully, using the large rocks for cover. The enemy ships chased them, but their big guns were slow in the tight spaces. The small freighter had a chance. Lyria sat beside Carter, watching the screens. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. "We can't keep running like this," she said. "They will catch us eventually." Carter nodded. "We need a safe place, somewhere. No one would think to look." Lyria smiled faintly. "There's one." She told him about a secret moon called Shira. It was a forgotten place, hidden behind a gas giant in a distant system. Smugglers and outcasts sometimes used it, but it was too dangerous for most fleets. The perfect hiding spot. "But the smugglers won't like strangers," Carter said. "Then we make them think we are not worth the trouble," Lyria replied. They set a course for Shira, moving slowly to avoid detection. When they arrived, the moon was covered in rocky deserts and deep caves. The freighter landed near a hidden base built into a cliff. Inside, the base was dark and full of old machines. Carter and Lyria met a group of smugglers, rough, suspicious, and ready to fight if needed. One of the smugglers, a tall woman with a scar across her cheek, stepped forward. "Who are you? What do you want?" Lyria held up her hands. "We only want shelter. No trouble." The smugglers eyed them closely. Carter spoke up. "We have some trade goods, parts, food, supplies. We can share." The leader grunted but nodded. "Fine, but no secrets, no lies." They were led to a small room to rest. Carter worked on the freighter, fixing what he could with old tools and spare parts from the base. Lyria stayed quiet, watching the smugglers carefully. After a day, one smuggler came close to Lyria. "You're not telling us everything, are you? That enemy ship, we know who you are." Lyria's eyes narrowed. "If you betray me, the Vekari will find this place. Everyone here will be dead." The smuggler laughed. "The Vekari don't scare me, but money does." Carter's heart sank. They had been found. Lyria whispered to Carter, "We need a plan." They gathered in the small room. Lyria smiled slyly. "I can send a fake signal. Make it look like the Vekari fleet is already here. It will scare them." Carter raised his eyebrows. "How?" Lyria explained she knew the frequencies the Vekari used for communication. With the old equipment here, she could imitate a call that sounded like a massive fleet arriving. Carter nodded. "It's risky, but it might work." Lyria connected the old transmitter and started the signal. The fake message sent out warnings in Vekari code. "Hostile fleet approaching. Evacuate immediately." Outside, the smugglers heard the signal. Their faces changed from greed to fear. "They're coming," the scarred woman said, eyes wide. The smugglers quickly packed their things and ran for their ships, leaving Carter and Lyria alone in the base. Carter smiled. "That was smart." Lyria shrugged. "Sometimes you have to fight with brains, not weapons." They prepared the freighter to leave. Carter fixed the last engine controls while Lyria checked the map inside her mind. "Shira was a good idea," Carter said. "But we can't stay. They'll come back." Lyria agreed. "We must move fast. The secret is safe only if we protect it." As they took off, the freighter rose slowly from the moon's surface. The asteroid belt returned, shadows dancing on the ship's worn hull. Carter looked at Lyria. "You're smarter than I thought." Lyria smiled softly. "And you're braver than I expected." For the first time since they met, there was no fear in their eyes, only hope. They set a new course toward the junk fields, where old ships and forgotten machines waited. Maybe there, Carter could find parts to fix the freighter for the long journey ahead. As the stars stretched before them, Carter and Lyria sat close, hands still linked. In a dangerous galaxy, trust was rare, but they had found it in the smallest, quietest place, in a shared bed, hiding from enemies but building something stronger. The freighter moved slowly through the junk fields, a place where broken ships and forgotten machines drifted silently. In space, Carter scanned the debris, looking for anything useful. Every piece could help fix the freighter's weak engines and worn systems. Lyria watched from the small cabin. Her blue skin glowed faintly in the dim light, but her eyes held a new spark. Hope. There Carter said, pointing at a large, rusted ship half buried in metal scrap. Lyria leaned closer. That looks like a human warship. Carter nodded. An old one, the kind we used during the early wars. Strong ships, even if they look broken now. They guided the freighter closer to the giant hull. The ship was silent but still intact. Its surface was scratched and dull, but the shape was proud and strong. If we can get this engine running, Carter said, we can outrun most enemies. Lyria smiled faintly. Then let's try. They docked the freighter to the warship's airlock. Carter suited up and floated through the silent corridors. Searching for power supplies and spare parts, Lyria followed, her steps light but steady inside. The warship felt like a ghost from another time, empty halls, old control rooms, and faded. Signs told stories of battles long past. Carter worked carefully, repairing wires, fixing engines, and testing controls. Lyria studied the data logs stored in the ship's computer. This ship fought against the Vekari once, she said softly, reading the records. Humans never backed down, even when they were outnumbered. Carter smiled. That's true. We fight for what we believe in. No matter the cost. As Carter finished the repairs, the warship's engines hummed to life. A deep, powerful sound filled the corridors, waking the old ship from its long sleep. Lyria looked at the control panels. This ship could help us end the chase. Carter nodded. With its speed and weapons, we might finally turn the tables. They spent the next day testing the warship's systems. Carter learned the controls quickly, remembering lessons from training days long ago. Lyria assisted by decoding star charts and enemy positions. As they worked together, their bond grew stronger. Carter saw not just a scared alien, but a fierce warrior with a will to survive. Lyria saw in Carter a protector and friend. One evening, as they rested in the warship's bridge, Lyria spoke softly. You have given me hope, more than I ever thought possible. Carter looked at her, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. We save each other. Suddenly, the warship's sensors blinked red. Enemy ships appeared on the edge of the system. They found us again, Carter said, steadying himself. Lyria's eyes flashed. Then we fight. This time, we do not run. Carter activated the warship's weapons. Lasers and pulse cannons powered up, ready for battle. The small freighter moved alongside, prepared to support. As the enemy fleet approached, Carter and Lyria stood side by side in the warship's command center. Their fingers brushed briefly, a silent promise to face the coming storm together. The battle began with a sudden burst of fire. The warship's weapons struck true, destroying enemy fighters quickly. The old ship moved with surprising speed and power, dodging attacks. Lyria directed the weapons, calling out targets with calm precision. Carter piloted the ship, weaving through the enemy fleet. Together, they fought like a single force. After hours of battle, the enemy commander's flagship appeared, larger and more powerful than the others. This is it, Lyria said. If we win here, they will retreat. Carter nodded. Let's end this with careful skill. They led the enemy flagship into a trap, using the warship's hidden cloaking systems. They disappeared behind a dense asteroid field. The enemy ship followed, but the warship waited. When the flagship was in range, Carter and Lyria unleashed a full attack. Missiles and lasers struck hard, crippling the enemy vessel. The flagship exploded in a bright flash, scattering debris into space. The remaining enemy ships retreated quickly, disappearing into the darkness. Lyria smiled, her eyes shining. We won. Carter looked at her, proud and tired. We still have a long way to go, but this is a start. She reached out and took his hand. Thank you for standing with me, always, he said. In the quiet after the battle, the two sat together in the warship's bridge, their hands still linked. The stars outside twinkled like a promise, a future waiting to be built. And for the first time in a long time, Carter and Lyria felt that hope was more than just a dream. The victory was short-lived. The enemy had lost their flagship, but their hunt was far from over. Word spread quickly through the Vekari fleet. The human warship and the alien princess were dangerous now, more dangerous than before. Carter and Lyria knew they had to act Fast. The warship's sensors picked up a large fleet approaching. It was bigger than before. Faster and more organized. The Vekari commander wanted them dead, no matter the cost. This is the last fight, Lyria said, her voice steady but quiet. Carter looked at her. We won't run. They prepared the warship for battle. Carter ran through the controls, checking every system. Lyria worked on the weapon targeting, her fingers steady on the console. Outside, the fleet drew closer, their weapons glowing in the dark. Carter piloted the ship with skill, weaving through the stars toward a nearby asteroid field. It was dangerous territory, large rocks moving slowly, creating a maze. But it was their best chance. Hide in the asteroids, Carter said. We'll use the terrain to confuse them, Lyria nodded, and strike when they least expect it. As they entered the field, the warship's stealth system powered on. The ship became nearly invisible to enemy scanners. The enemy fleet followed cautiously. Unsure where their prey had gone, Carter and Lyria waited patiently, watching the enemy move deeper into the maze. Then, with a sudden burst, they attacked. Lasers and missiles fired from hidden positions, striking enemy ships one by one. The Vekari fleet scrambled, trying to regroup. Lyria directed the attack with sharp precision. Calling out targets and weak points, Carter piloted the ship through tight spaces, dodging enemy fire and debris. Their teamwork was perfect, a dance of war in the heart of danger. But the Vekari commander was clever. He sent a fast ship around the edge, trying to cut off their escape flankers. Carter shouted, They want to trap us. Lyria's eyes flashed. We'll make sure they don't. Carter pushed the warship's engines to their limits. They raced toward a narrow canyon between two asteroids. The enemy ship followed closely. At the last moment, Carter fired the ship's powerful thrusters, sending the warship spinning into a hidden cave. The enemy ship was too fast to stop. It crashed into the asteroid wall with a loud explosion. Carter and Lyria breathed heavily. We lost one, Lyria said quietly. We made a message, Carter said, but they knew more would come. Lyria activated the warship's communication system. She recorded a message to the galaxy, a warning and a call for help. Her voice was clear and strong. The Vekari hunt my people for power. They lie about their intentions. This secret must be shared to stop more bloodshed. Carter sent the message to every nearby system, hoping for allies. After the message sent, they rested briefly. The small bedchamber inside the warship felt like a safe place again, their shared refuge in the middle of chaos. Lyria looked at Carter. Thank you for fighting with me. Carter smiled. We fight together. No one stands alone. Outside, stars shone brightly, as if watching their struggle. The Vekari fleet retreated. But the war was not over. Carter and Lyria knew their journey had only just begun. They would keep fighting, for hope, for peace, and for each other. The galaxy was watching now. Lyria's message had spread like wildfire through star systems. Many listened in shock. The Vekari were not the heroes they claimed to be. The truth was clear, and alliances began to shift. Carter and Lyria stood together on the bridge of the warship. The stars stretched before them, bright and full of promise. We are no longer alone, Lyria said softly. The galaxy sees the truth. Carter smiled. Your secret is safe now, and your people will have a chance to return. A fleet of allied ships arrived at their location, not to attack, but to support. Powerful ships from different worlds, ready to stand against the Vekari. Lyria's eyes shone with hope. Thank you for believing. Carter reached for her hand. I always will. Together, they spoke to the allied leaders. Lyria shared stories of her lost home, the destruction, and the secret energy that could change everything. The leaders promised help, ships, supplies, and protection. The balance in the galaxy was shifting. After the meeting, Carter and Lyria found a quiet moment in the ship's small cabin. The same hidden bedchamber where they first hid from danger. Now, it felt different, no longer a prison, but a place of peace. Lyria smiled. We hid here from enemies once, Carter nodded. Now, we rest here as friends. They sat close, hands still linked, the long journey behind them. What will you do now? Carter asked. Lyria thought. I will help rebuild. Bring my people home. And make sure the past does not repeat. Carter smiled. And I will be with you. Lyria looked at him, her eyes soft and warm. I never expected to find this. Friendship, trust, maybe something more. Carter laughed softly. Sometimes, the hardest journeys bring the greatest rewards. They talked late into the night, sharing dreams of a future filled with hope and peace. Outside, the stars watched silently, bearing witness to a new beginning. The Vekari threat was not gone, but Carter and Lyria were ready, together. No longer hiding, no longer afraid. They had found strength in each other. And in the vast darkness of space. That light was enough.